we continue on the same venue. And I introduce our guest, that is Francesca Failoni, Chief Financial Officer and co-founder of Alps blockchain. And with Francesca, we discuss about blockchain and sustainability once again. So Alps Blockchain is a company dedicated to the development of blockchain data centers, and it has been leading the way in making the mining process more sustainable. So I have some questions for you, and then certainly I leave also the floor to the audience for other questions. So in general, environmental issues have become increasingly relevant in the financial system, in general in the market, banking system, driven by different reasons. So a sense of responsibility, an interest in this aspect by investors, a strong impulse from regulation, at least this is for the traditional financial system. Is it the same for blockchain and mining sector? And in Alps Blockchain, how have you addressed this issue of the sustainability?
Yes, when we started our activity, sustainability was...
Use the microphone, please.
Yes.
Thank you.
Better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So when we started our activity, and it was 5 years ago, we already thought that sustainability was something important to consider. And there were already people speaking about the problem of the power consumption of the mining activity. So all of us can say that mining is for sure energy consuming. In general, all the new activities that we are doing with technology, so if we consider like AI, data mining, whatever, so the technological revolution is energy it consumes a lot. And for this reason, what we thought was we know that what can we do to try to be more efficient about that. So we don't want to fight this revolution because it's energy consuming, but we want to try to find a way to make it more efficient. Regulation, for sure, are trying to enhance this kind of activity, and they are trying to emphasize the problem of the energy consumption. For example, if we think about China, there was like some years ago a ban, and then they are opening more to companies that are using only renewable energy. Or if we think about the biggest market for mining, that is the US market, mostly the biggest mining companies are using renewable. And if we think about their that they are listed, so their stock price, there is a kind of premium for the companies that are using renewable energies. So for sure, it's something people are caring, and it's something important.
Okay, you told about efficiency, and so my second question is, but the use or the decision of using these green renewable energies is economically and financially sustainable for your business. So we can say that in your sector, the transition to green energy can in any way lead also benefits from an economic point of view?
Yes, absolutely. There are many reasons. First of all, there are a lot of miners around the world that are using renewable energies because, for example, they are listed companies, and so there is economically an impact on their stock price. So for sure there is an economic premium for that. But in my opinion, we have to see that in another way. For example, what we do is yes, using renewable energies, but using them directly from the energy source. So we self-consume the energy from the power producers without going to the grid in some cases. And in this way, there is, we avoid to have transport losses, and we avoid, for example, in Italy, if you self-consume the energy without going to the grid, you don't have to pay accesses, taxes, and transport fees. And so you can make mining activity economically sustainable also in countries where it wouldn't be. And so it's interesting also for this point of view. In addition to that, there are a lot of hydropower plants in the world. We have experienced that, like they are not connected to the grid in some cases, or they are not economically profitable anymore because in Italy, for example, when they finish the state incentives, the price of the energy is not enough to pay the costs of this hydropower plant. And in these cases, the mining activity can be a way to give new life to these power producers.
Thank you. And now we turn to another important aspect of sustainability, and in particular, social aspects. In this way, what you do in terms of social aspect, if you consider also these aspects, so what is the impact on the community, on the area in which you operate?
Yeah, absolutely. Another really interesting aspect to consider about the mining activity is that we can make an industry, we can make a data center all over the world, also in remote places. And for example, I can make one example of we have a mining farm in the Amazon forest in Ecuador, and it's a kind of small town where there is nothing. There is only the hydropower plant. And to create the data center, we give work to all local community people. And in this way, you can use new technologies to create economic activity also in remote places. And why the mining activity? Because we can consume the energy wherever and take it to the other parts of the world. So we could produce computing power in Ecuador, and we use it for Bitcoin mining. But other kind of uses, like a data center, wouldn't work because there is not a stable connection. There are some other problems that are not important problems if we consider mining, but that can be bigger problem for other uses. And so in this way, we can create mining farms really in remote places, like in the desert in Oman, in the Amazon forest in Ecuador. And in this way, we can enhance the local community. We can give new works to the local community. And so mining can have, for sure, a social impact. But in general, blockchain technology can have a social impact. We can see like some projects in remote states, like in Africa or like in El Salvador. It's a way in which people can have like their they can handle their money. They have access to the financial market, and so I think that there is a really important social impact of this technology.
Thank you. And my last question, that I leave space and time for a question from the audience. In all other sectors nowadays, ESG disclosure, so the communication about ESG, is extremely important. This is the same in your sector, so you dedicate time also to communicate to all the stakeholders what you did and you will do in terms of environmental and social issue, or is not so relevant as in other sectors?
So I think that as you said, in every sector, ESG reporting is getting really important, in particular for bigger companies, because it's kind of difficult for smaller companies to report their ESG impact. And so what we see is that the bigger company or the listed company are really making a lot of effort to report their ESG impact. And that's the same that is happening to mining companies, because what we are seeing is that the mining activity is getting more industrial than some years ago. So if we think about mining, like 5 years ago, there weren't a lot of listed companies, but there were a lot of smaller miners. They were using a lot of energy, but not renewable energy sometimes. They were using inefficient miners for sure. And this was also why there were such a lot of carbon footprint on the mining activity. While what we are seeing right now is that the environment, the mining sector is changing, because we are seeing an industrialization of the sector, because margins are getting lower than before. Having new generation miners is not so easy as it was. The minimum orders are like 20 million order of miners, and this is taking this kind of work to be in industry, at industrial level. And so what we see is that there are a lot of listed companies in the US, like, for example, and they are bigger companies, so they have to report about ESG, and they are taking care about that. And this will let the carbon footprint go down for sure, because most of them are using renewable energy, and most of them are using, for example, efficient miners. In this way, mining consumption will drop a lot. And after the halving, we will see also that effect, because an efficient miner will be shut down. And so we will see, like, for the same terahash, the consumption can be like the half.
Thank you very much. Fernando?
You might be aware that the European Parliament has been discussing an initiative to block or to forbid, to prohibit proof-of-work cryptocurrencies. Well, it's hard to understand how they will do that, but anyway, what is your opinion, and what do you think that should be done from the political and lobbying level in order to make it clear what is the reality of consumption and sustainability?
Yeah. What I think is that it's years that they are speaking about trying to enhance, like, more crypto that are less consuming, for example, more sustainable. And the easiest way is saying we ban proof of work crypto, but it's not doable, because yes, you can ban them in Europe, but it's a technology that is global, so it's impossible to ban a crypto in Europe for my perspective, because there are plenty of ways to avoid this ban for people, and there is, I think, no sense to do that. Maybe they can do it in another way, for example, so they can try to enhance crypto that are less consuming. They can care about the carbon footprint. They can go directly to miners and enhance the miners that are caring about ESG, for example, and make fines to who are using only, like, not renewable energy, like oil or something like that. That can be a way to go not to the consumers, but to the industry level, and try to change this industry from that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think that the time is gone.
Yes. Okay, now it works. Yes, if there is one question from the audience, we have time. Yes, one question.
All right, thank you for the talk. Interesting. So you're focusing on the kind of efficiency and the electricity consumption, which is laudable, but there's more to it, right? There's that whole electronic waste thing. So in the previous presentation, we saw the number of like 600, 700 grams per transaction, if I remember correctly. So that's like 3 or 4 phones per transaction, which is ridiculous if that is true. Do you see a potential of also addressing this with your approach? My idea being that if you're using electricity that would otherwise be wasted or not exist anyway, that would also allow you to run less efficient hardware. So it's not really the aim of having the most efficient stuff running and always replacing it, but also to somehow profitably, because of basically zero marginal costs, have more inefficient hardware running, thus not having a lot of electronic waste.
Yes, for sure, using an electricity that would be wasted is a way to reduce the carbon footprint of this kind of activity, and that's what we do around the world. For example, as I said, in Ecuador, in Oman, or in other remote countries. But I don't agree that if you are using wasted energy, you should use like inefficient miners, because it's anyway important to do industrial projects with a good price of energy, a good kind of equipment in order to be efficient and to be like we will go through the halving, we will go through changes in this industry, and so it's important to do like industrial projects in the right way, in my opinion. What we also can do is working like on the design and software level to try to be more efficient again, or we can work in the cooling systems to try to be again more efficient and be able to work also in countries where there is not the right weather for mining. So there are a lot of things that can be done, and for sure wasted energy is something really interesting.
Okay, we have 2 minutes, 1 minute. So the last question. Yes.
Thank you very much for your presentation. I'm Hazret Ozan Sevim from Catholic University. I have a bit manipulative question, because you are coming from almost the top of the industry. So I'm curious about your opinion about this. So do you think that, I mean, it will be much better, of course, having an empirical research on it. Just your opinion, I'm curious about it. Do you think that the driving force of Bitcoin mining is mainly the retail demand to Bitcoin? If yes, do you think that the retail investors and the directors of pro-Bitcoin institutions are affected by the pro-Bitcoin media to demand Bitcoin? So, I mean, at the end, can we claim that Bitcoin mining harms or has a big footprint because of the pro-media effect? Thank you.
So, for sure, media are having a lot of effect on Bitcoin miners, because they have direct effect on the prices of stock of listed companies, and for this reason, they then have effect on the investments of the biggest mining companies. And what we see is also that the retail investors are more prone to invest to bigger companies. So we see like the 5 bigger listed US companies are the ones in which retail investors are mostly investing. And so what I think is that, yeah, narrative and in general information, media information are something important, but anyway, retail investors are investing in the biggest size miners.
Yeah. Thank you, Francesca and Carmine. And now we go to the next section.
Yes, so I invite to join here on the desk Francesca Mattasoglio to chair the session. And Davide Schettini and Roman Matoschi, while Mario Bellia and Daniel Heller will join from remote.